APT mentors working in very close proximity with Techwala K3 Solutions Private Limited. These are both based in Kolkata. Techwala K3 Solutions Private Limited is a digital brand consulting company for educational institutions. Or I could also use Nepali. So bilingual ma pani हामी बोल्न सक्छौं र आजको panel discussion ma thank you very much Captain Prakash and Pradhan, the chief guest for today's program, Principal Director of Rockville Academy Kalimpong and Rockville Management College, himself an educationist, and whose institutions, along with his interests, they've also conducted career counseling in different aspects in the past. So we're very honored to have you, sir, for this special presentation, which involves educationists, teachers, विभिन्न पाठशालाबाट यहाँ उपस्थित हुनुहुन्छ. So we have teacher representatives from various institutions in and around the region. The youngest district within the state of West Bengal, Kalimpong district. Girls High Secondary School is here with us. Sabita Gurung is the teacher who's representing the institution. Paramount School, represented by Swarnim Tamong. Kalimpong College, represented by Yojana Khadka and Ankompa Subba. Clooney Women's College, represented by Payal P. Sinha and Meherman Subba. WBMLLDB, Lepcha Cultural and Development Board, Bharat Sri Nima Lepcha is here with us. Pranami Balika Vidya Mandir Batra, Diksha Saxena is here. From St. Joseph's Convent, we have Samiksha Pradhan and Ritu Sharma. Yahan hununcha. Pagongomba High Secondary School Batra, Durgesh Nandini and Neetu Chetri. Rockville Academy, represented by Sri Hiralal Pun, is here with us. Brindavan School Batra, Saurav Joshi and Pooja Agarwal. So thank you all for making it. We will start with the garlanding of the Honorable Chief Guest and the other dignitaries present here. May I request Mrs. Sunita Rai Bhutia to kindly do the offering of khadas to Honorable Chief Guest Captain Prakash Pradhan. So may I request Captain Prakash Pradhan to kindly be seated here. आज का प्रमुख अतिथि Captain Prakash Pradhan. So जोरदार थापडीको साथ उहाँको उपस्थितिको कदर गर्दै, thank you sir, Captain Prakash Pradhan. As you can see, APT Mentors in association with Run with Roshni Foundation presents this annual Teachers Conclave, Kalimpong Chapter's first conclave. र उहाँहरू भन्छन् कि आउँदो दिनमा पनि निरन्तरता यसलाई दिने in the days to come as well, and where they hope to get in more experts from within the country and abroad as well. So this is a very good initiative on the part of the collaborators and in particular APT mentors working in very close collaboration with Techwala K3 Solutions Private Limited. So the panel discussion today is a very relevant topic on which especially parents, children and even teachers kind of ponder from time to time. The importance of scientific career counseling for high school students. अब career counseling अथवा students counseling नभएको पनि होइन, but APT mentors make us believe that this is a genuine career counseling in the sense it is more scientific. र उहाँहरूको program और अलिक बेग्लै अलिकति structured, personalized किसिमको career counseling they're involved in. Please give me some time. So Run with Roshni Foundation, Ms. Roshni Rai, international runner, long distance marathoner, hununcha. I'll just those will continue pornos, but I think but a little bit just to introduce our friends from Kolkata, what the foundation is all about. A project Run with Roshni was started by a Gorkha girl. She is Roshni Rai from a small hamlet known as Pradhan in the district of Kalimpong. She is an advocate by profession. She's also an author of a very popular book, inspirational book, From the Mountain to the Ocean, Run with Roshni. She's also a certified life coach, a motivational speaker, and someone who inspires the youth, not only from this part of the world, but wherever she goes. She's run several marathons all over the world, to name a few: the Comrade Marathon 2012 in South Africa, Prague International Marathon 2010, London Run to the Beat in UK, Tenzing Hillary Everest Half Marathon 2016 in Nepal, Zinki, I hope this is correct, my pronunciation, Shige, okay, International Mountain Marathon in China, Lumbini Peace Marathon in Nepal. But the great thing about her is, in spite of having that international exposure, she also wants to take along youngsters to the national platform as far as marathon is concerned. So far, I think she's helped many young runners from this part of the world to run or participate in more than 30 races from Mumbai, from 2012 to 2022. Because of the lockdown and pandemic, it was kind of not there. Anyways, thank you, Roshni Baini. Thank you very much. Thank you. A big round of applause for the foundation to actually have been a part of this event. But before the panelists kind of make their entry and take forward today's panel discussion, the conclave involving teachers from various institutions within Kalimpong and outside Kalimpong, this is a very lovely place, the Shire, Atisa Road, Kalimpong. Thank you, Sonam sir and family. To talk about APT mentors in brief, because when Ma'am Brinda makes her brains, so it's a new age learners, we understand, need to know what they actually love. And APT Mentors, a Tech Walla Key-Free Solutions Private Limited initiative, is a career counseling enterprise to actually guide the high school, UG and PG college students, as well as budding professionals, for choosing the right fit careers based on a scientifically designed psychometric test. So they're also going to explain what is actually a psychometric test as the discussion unfolds itself. Vision of APT in very brief: empowering students to take informed career and educational decisions. Yo hoina ki vidyalaya teachers are and teachers are also involved in mentoring and counseling in their own small way, but this seems to be a platform where a scientific approach is given, where every student is recognized his potentials, the weaker points and the stronger points, and actually help the students to get a clear picture of himself or herself. It's a customized, personalized assessment test for every candidate. Objective ko chotoma kura garda, guide students to identify their strengths, weaknesses, interests, traits, and passion with a scientifically designed aptitude test. Yo vishayma aile Ma'am Brinda and Kishore sir is also going to speak on those lines. Mission is to provide self-evaluation tools and techniques with an unbiased, holistic, and value-driven education and career counseling. And before I wind up, APT Mentors Assessment Test of U level ma sanchalan huncha. Foundation assessment for class 8 and 9. Then you move to class 10, then class 12, then UG, PG, and professionals. Aile bistri jankari ma'am is going to give. So ladies and gentlemen, now we will begin this year's annual Teachers Conclave, a presentation of APT Mentors, Study What You, in association with Run with Roshni Foundation. Ra ab हामी जोरदार थपडीको साथ मञ्चमा हामीसँग we have three eminent panelists from various fields but closely related to education. Ra जोरदार थपडीको साथ I would like to invite on stage the first panelist for today's discussion, Ma'am Latika Oja. So उहाँलाई जोरदार थपडीको साथ हामी मञ्चमा स्वागत जनाइरहेका छौं. So very briefly, I'd like to introduce Ma'am Latika Oja. She's an author and teacher at St. Philomena's High Secondary School in Kalimpong, a school that believes in empowering women with proper education. She was born and brought up in Darjeeling. She went to the prestigious Loreto Convent in Darjeeling to complete her, and then she went to another prestigious institution, Mount Hermon School, both in Darjeeling. Graduated in English literature from Loreto College, Darjeeling, completed her PG studies from the world-famous Vishwavarati Shanti Niketan. Two of her poems have been published in the anthology Midnight Hues and one in an anthology on the international platform related to mental health, mind. Hindustani classical vocal ma पनि त्यही निपुणता उहाँले लिनुभएको छ. She is presently working for the past many decades in St. Philomena's High Secondary School, where she teaches English in the secondary and high secondary school. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the first panelist, Ma'am Latika Oja. त्यसपछि हामीसँग कालिम्पोङकै, she's an OGB, Dr. Rams Holmesका भूतपूर्व विद्यार्थी उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ. Mrs. Renzila Sherpa, presently Deputy Director, Employment Exchange Kalimpong, DGH मा पढ्नु भएको, अनि History Honours from the prestigious Lady Brabon College in Kolkata, अनि LLM from North Bengal University. र आज उहाँको प्रस्तुति, she's going to speak from the job perspective angle, but कुन subject चाहिँ कुन विषय चाहिँ लिनुपर्ने अरे विद्यार्थी, जसमा कि लास्टमा त it has to translate into you getting a proper job of your choice. Last but not the least, thank you, ma'am, for your time and your presence. Brinda Das, ma'am, is here with us. She has 15 years experience in marketing, communication, and digital content marketing. Worked mainly with education and communication agencies in strategic marketing, creative communication, public relations, business development, and customer relationship management to meet organizational growth. She has a postgraduate degree in English from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, provides unbiased or genuine counseling, and she's going to speak on actually what is a structured, a personalized, a customized, and genuine, unbiased career counseling for the students. So, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, अब सीधा हामी आजको विषयतिर प्रवेश गर्छौं. So, how you're going to provide a scientific career counseling for high school students? र प्रथममा उहाँलाई खदा अर्पण हामी यहाँ गर्दैछौं. May I request Ma'am Sunita Rai Bhutia, Nima Sherpa, Nima Lepcha है, हजुर उहाँलाई पनि खदा अर्पण गर्दै. थ्याङ्क यू सर तपाईको समयलाई अनि तपाईको उपस्थितिलाई. म्याम लतिका जोशीलाई खदा अर्पण गर्दै. ओझा म्याम ब्रिन्दा दास, एपिटी मेन्टर्सबाट उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ. एप्ट मेन्टर्स, AM, full form is APT, Apt Mentors, Study What You. And Ma'am Renzila is here with us. So your panel discussion भन्नाले अब त्यो सिधै मैले त्यो सञ्चालन गर्ने होइन. सो मेरो काम यहाँ मोटामोटी सिद्धिन्छ, बीचमा म आउँछु. यदि तपाईहरुको प्रश्न छ भने सोध्नु सक्नुहुनेछ प्यानलिस्टलाई, बट प्लिज बी प्रिसाइज है, लामो नजानुहोस्, टु द पोइन्ट, छोटो मिठो, बिकज यो इन्टरभ्यू एट द मोस्ट 40 मिनट्स जस्तो यताउति 10 मिनट्स हामीले प्यानलिस्टलाई दिएका छौँ. त्यसपछि इफ यु हेभ एनी फिडब्याक, तपाईँको आफ्नो प्रब्लम्सहरू अथवा सजेसन्स, देन यु क्यान ब्रिङ इट एट द मोस्ट 45 मिनट्स भनौँ, बिकज बेसी गर्दा पनि अगेन इट विल नट ह्याभ ए प्रपर इफेक्ट है. सो विल मेक इट सर्ट एन्ड स्वीट बट भेरी इफेक्टिभ. नाउ इट्स ओभर टु द फर्स्ट प्यानलिस्ट, म्याम लतिका ओझा.
Okay, good morning to one and all. Before I begin, I would like to thank the apt mentors in association with Run with Roshni for having invited me here. Thank you so much. So the topic for discussion today is importance of scientific career counseling in high school. Like everything else, this also has its pros and cons, and have tried to, jot down points regarding both, which I would like to share with you. So let's begin with a very famous quote of Albert Einstein. Everybody is a genius. I quote, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Unquote. Because the ability of the fish lies in swimming. So before I actually talk about scientific counseling, let's talk about counseling. Counseling is a very broad term, and it is usually referred to a process of helping an individual in need by providing support of some kind and guidance, and then exploring solutions to the kind of problem being faced by that particular individual. Counseling involves help, and the help has to be from somebody who is a professional, somebody who understands human behavior, their personality, and based on these has the ability to give the right guidance or solve problems of the concerned individual. Career counseling, therefore, logically means the process whereby a student is helped and guided by a counselor who, by analyzing his interests and personality traits, can help the student introspect and discover his own skills. To come to scientific career counseling can therefore be defined as, I quote, a scientific process which involves calculated moves based on hard facts and methodical research, unquote. Hence, with reference to high school students, career counseling is nothing but the process of giving the right advice, support, and guidance to students in order to select the right career after high school. This involves discovering the student's unique strengths, aptitudes, and skills. Hence, there are various psychometric tests and aptitude tests that analyze the individuals to discover their skills and recommend the right career for them. Just to give you an example, I have heard of the Mindler Career Assessment Test, which is very popular in India. It is an online career test which evaluates an individual on 56 parameters across 5 dimensions, including personality, aptitude, interest, emotional quotient, and orientation style, so that top career options can be suggested to the individual taking the test. Now, the belief is that a counselor should be a person outside the school and someone who either holds a postgraduate degree in psychology or at least a diploma in counseling psychology. So, the importance, I would like to share a few points on the importance of a counselor. The importance of the counselor, therefore, lies in the fact that the relationship between the counselor and the counselee, if I may use the term, is based on a good rapport and trust, which helps build the confidence of the student, thereby improving his communication skills. And we all know that communication skills, if enhanced, is a very good tool for learning. Some other advantages of a counselor are: they provide secure environment, they build trust and confidence, they provide relevant psychometric tests which are used to obtain important information about the student's behavior, interest, and emotional strength. They help them pick the right career, provide expert resources, help change unwanted behavior, help remove career-related frustration, provide role models by inviting experts from outside, and of course help them keep focus and organized. So basically, what we understand is that each child is unique, possessing his or her own qualities. And to bring these qualities forth, it is very important to have a counselor. Today, when opportunities are varied and wide, and there are plethora of career options available, confusion has increased manifold. Students tend to get puzzled and falter in taking right decision. This is where scientific counseling comes in, plays a pivotal role. This is very important today, even more important today, owing to the pandemic, as students are facing a lot of problems because of the gap that they have experienced in education and need a lot of morale boost to pep them up and prepare grounds for success. Career counseling can help a student adopt best practices which can help an individual achieve his goal, particularly when it uses various logical methods which can help students build careers that would be beneficial to them. Just to refer to the RTE 2022-23, the RTE 22-23 states that students who come from economically weak sections or backward community, they will be given priority in admissions to schools. So this tells us that we are going to have a lot of first generation learners. Hence, there will be a lot of a need for counseling to these students who don't really have exposure, to different fields, career paths that they might be able to choose, and that they might be talented in. So to be able to bring forth out the talent and potential, career counseling is very, very important, and the presence of a counselor is important. Okay. Now these are the very good points in favor of counseling and counselors. Counseling is no doubt, without any doubt, counseling is very important, right? I'm talking about counseling. The reason why I'm not saying scientific counseling is something I'll come to as I go further, right? So now I want to I have done a little bit of research about certain countries where the scientific counseling is actually practiced in a very big way. And I just want to read out a few experiences that I have gotten from students of high schools that I have actually interacted with, and some parents as well. So the first question is, are we sure that there is a need for a big counseling program? Students, their teachers, and guardians are quite capable of finding out information from different resources, especially in the age of fast internet and easy communication. They seem good at getting advice and making appropriate decisions. We can see this, from the fact that over 20,000 students have made very good career opportunities in Ukraine, a country which most people can hardly locate on the map. Setting up big counseling program would divert resources from other needs of students, not only financially, but also take away precious time of teachers and students themselves. Perhaps this time would be better spent in studying and teaching. This is what economists called opportunity cost. I think Yojana can tell us something more about it, since she's the economist sitting amongst us. Now, countries like USA that have extensive counseling program have very little to show for it. In fact, when I talked to my nephew, who is in high school in the US, he said that he has gained very little from he has gained very little, if anything, from official counselors. He and his friends have received their knowledge and career information from their regular teachers, who of course know them very well, and from their parents, guardians, and even friends. US schools have a bigger budget, and maybe they can afford to spend on such projects. But we should have more evidence before we spend our precious limited resources. Counseling, of course, can be very useful, can be a useful resource if it takes the form of an expert knowledge that a teacher or a student can access as and when needed. For example, if there is a list of subject matter available in a school, the school teacher can actually invite the expert over, an expert of some field, to speak to those students who are interested in that particular field. Now to come to the word scientific. This is just a thought. You may agree with me, you may not. Just trying to give reflect on what I have thought about this topic. This term, scientific career counseling. The word scientific to me appears slightly inappropriate because humans are far too complicated for something like selecting an appropriate field of studying or choosing a career path for it to be scientific. It cannot be studied, that is human behavior, cannot be studied in a cause and effect manner that characterizes science. Advising students, I think, or counseling is more of an art and not a precise one. So we should avoid using, or rather misusing, the term scientific. Just a thought. Now to go back to scientific counseling. Some countries like the former Soviet Union use the so-called scientific methods to pick the field that a student should study. That is what we are focusing at when we talk about scientific career counseling. This, however, was often a disaster, as students were often forced to study topics they had no interest in just because they did well in that topic in an aptitude test. While aptitude tests can be helpful, they are often inaccurate and misleading, because aptitude tests deal not only with the personality traits but also the thought process and behavior of an individual. And when a student is sitting for an aptitude test, we really can't predict his thought processes or behavior, and that affects the test in negatively or positively. Just because a student has an aptitude for some topic doesn't mean that they want to study that topic. And if people are forced to study, if students are forced to study a topic that they dislike, they end up being unhappy and then performing poorly. There are some examples of these that I can actually quote, because I was forced to take up science, because everybody in my family is in the field of science. I was forced to take up science for my 11 and 12 in Mount Hermon, and I performed very poorly because I was just not interested in it. And then when I got the chance, when my parents finally gave in and I took up English honors in Loreto College, I started doing well because that was a subject of my interest. Even if a student does have both aptitude and interest in a topic, it might still be advisable for them not to follow that field. This is true of professions where the total number of available jobs is small, but which attract a lot of applicants. And a good example of these are sports and arts. I can again quote an example from my own life. I have always been very interested in music and have sung in radio stations, and I could have made a career if I wanted to. But my parents intervened and said that not everybody can become Lata Mangeshkar. And they advised that I should go in for, I should go in for academics. I was a little disappointed at that time, maybe because I did not really gauge into the importance of, what my parents were saying. After all, they were experienced people. Today, I'm so thankful to them that I have a steady career in a subject which I love. There are a very small number of people who can get a steady job, like I said, as a singer or as a professional cricketer. However, we should not discourage them. As counselors, we should not discourage them, but we have to follow, we must not discourage the students' interest, but we have to follow the theory of fail fast. The fail fast theory is, a term used by the Silicon Valley, which means that if your career plan or a business plan fails, or fails to take off, then you should stop wasting your time and resources on it and move on to something else. Now, such subtleties cannot be handled by aptitude tests or by psychometric tests. These kind of issues are best addressed by teachers who know their students very well, and guardians and parents who have worldly experience and overall interests of their wards in mind. So in conclusion, I would like to say that counseling and counselors are very important. They are needed, but only to a certain section of society. Like I mentioned about the economically weak section, the backward section, or the first generation learners. Of course they need counseling and they need counselors, and psychometric tests and aptitude tests definitely are helpful. There's no doubt about it. But the only thing that I would like to say that it should not be compulsory, for each and every one, because students are very, very smart these days. Students are very smart. They know what career path to choose. Even in a small place like Kalimpong, in my own school, I see students of high school who are very, focused about the career that they want to choose. And I'm talking about first generation learners. We can take famous examples of Abdul Kalam and Kiran Bedi. They belong to very humble families. They did not have parents who were educated yet. And even in those days, they did not have counselors. Now, these are talking about people who are famous. We can see it very much in our own lives. My father was a doctor. There was nothing about medicine in my family before that. But there was a very famous doctor in Darjeeling called I've forgotten his name, but K.N. Sharma or something. And my father was very impressed by him and made up his mind as a child. He did not study in any sophisticated school. He was a student of Hindi high school, Darjeeling. But he made his career. My brother, who is a famous scientist in NASA, belonged to a small place called Darjeeling and did not have any exposure to an internet or any such facilities. Even communication was not good in those days. He landed up where he had to land up because he had the passion. So I feel teachers, if they are, if they add up to their qualification, take up certain counseling, psychology diplomas, then I think they would do a better job as counselors. And I'm not using the term scientific counseling because I've already told you I feel counseling is an art. So it would be good to have information and access to individuals who can come to talk to students about their areas of expertise. And this should be on voluntary basis, so only students who need such knowledge can reach out for it. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Ma'am Lalita Oja, for bringing in a perspective from various angles, the pros and cons of having a structured, she didn't agree to endorse the term scientific, and she put forward her reasons for not actually being happy with the term scientific. But nonetheless, the realization that we come to at this point is like teachers can be, have always been counselors in their own small or big ways, but I think to have a genuine counseling session with an organization like Apt Mentors also comes into picture, where they kind of help us understand the relevance of what unbiased counseling, and where they can actually bring in their thought process to making counseling of the students, along with the help of the teachers, more structured and fruitful. Thank you, Latika ma'am, for this wonderful presentation. A big round of applause for Ma'am Oja for putting forward her point of view as a senior teacher of a reputed institution in Kalimpong, St. Joseph's, St. Philomena's Girls High Secondary School. र शिक्षिका भएको हैसियतले उहाँले आफ्नो प्रस्तुति राखे, धेरै वर्षको अनुभव उहाँसँग छ, र अब अल्टिमेटली when you choose whatever career, whatever subject you study, अल्टिमेटली त्यो नोकरीमै सायद परिणत हुनुपर्छ, जसमा म्यामले पनि कुरा गर्नुभयो, लाइक जब सेक्युरिटी एन्ड सो अन. सो टक अबाउट कुन विषय चाहिँ अब विद्यार्थीले लिनुपर्ने जसमा अल्टिमेटली घर त चल्नु पर्यो होइन, त्यो यथार्थ त्यो हुन्छ हाम्रो. जब प्रोस्पेक्ट्सको एङ्गलबाट आफ्नो प्रस्तुति राख्नको निम्ति म्याम रेन्जिला शेर्पा, डेपुटी डाइरेक्टर एम्प्लोइमेन्ट एक्सचेन्ज गभर्मेन्ट वेस्ट बेङ्गल हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ. उहाँले अब आफ्नो प्रस्तुति राख्नुहुनेछ.
Good morning, everyone, all and present, and thank you, Apt Mentors and Run with Roshni Foundation, especially Roshni. She was the one to bring me here. You all must be wondering what the government employee is doing over here. First of all, when there is so much of unemployment crisis in the world everywhere, especially in India, and this applies to Kalimpong itself. Since I am a daughter of Kalimpong, I am very concerned about our generation who is presently over here, because I am also a parent of 3 children who are doing their studies, still doing their studies, and yet so undecided about what to do in future. Actually, I am not representing my department today, but I've come here as an ordinary citizen of Kalimpong and concerned about the future generation. What I wanted to share today is that the experiences which I have faced as a government employee, because my office is always flooded with the unemployed youths asking for jobs, asking for what to do, what shall we do, because there is so much of crisis everywhere. Everybody is aware of this problem. So the thing is that from our department, what I have experienced is, first I would like to share my experience. We have one program that is a career talk program, with most probably sir is aware of that, which we had conducted in few of the schools, and we are yet to conduct, because I joined this department few months back. It's just been a year, I think. Because of COVID, we did not have a regular office, so we were not able to do all our schemes and programs. So we'll be doing in future, we'll be starting with from April. So from the few schools where I have conducted the program, what I have experienced is that children, basically the students, when I talk about a career, they are very uncertain about it. They cannot decide like what ma'am has said, like from Kalimpong itself, my brother is been very successful, but I don't think this applies to everyone, because when we talk about a career, when we are addressing a child, that we are not addressing a particular child, we are concerned about the whole society, where we have children belonging from all the classes. So when we are addressing a child, we talk about everyone. We talk about something that is applicable to all. So what I've experienced is that basically when I ask a child, the child says, that is the conventional thing. What do you want to become? They either say nursing, some say police, some say we want to become a teacher. That is the traditional thing that is happening. And what I want to say is that So the students are every time I find them confused. They are not aware of the thing. Here, what I have seen is that our children, they lack a lot of information. They are not aware of the things that is happening. There is a lack of motivation. What I have seen in the students, because previous to this I have worked in the plains, and there is a huge difference between the students of the plains and students of the hills. Here, what I see, we have got our children have lot of potential, far more potential than the students of the plains. But still, when we see that the students from the plains, they are going further, and our students are lacking behind. I'm talking in the general sense. I'm not talking about a certain section. I'm talking about the general sense. So why is that happening? Are we at a fault? Are we not guiding our students properly? Here, it's very fortunate to have all the teachers over here, because the teachers, they are in a school, and school is not only a place, not only an institution where we have the academic progress of a child. When we talk about a school, the school gives a holistic development of a child. The school builds a child into a man. And I think a school has got a big role to play and make that person successful. Because that we have experienced, I think as a parent, I have experienced myself from the COVID times when we did not have school in the past 2 years. Most of you all must agree with this. They might agree गर्नुहुन्छ होला तपाईहरु हैन कि स्कुल नहुँदाखेरि चाहिँ हाम्रो नानीहरुलाई कति चाहिँ लस भयो. हामीलाई as a parent, we had to face such a difficulty. We realized that how difficult it is to handle a child at home without sending them to school. So what I have realized is sending a child to school is not only for a child's academic performance. It's about the development of the child as a whole. As a teachers, you all must be experienced that a child katiko extent ma chai child they are lacking behind. I think they all must be experiencing better than me, because every day you all are facing the students, and maybe you all are not finding the same students which you had left 2 years back. त्यसै कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ what I feel is that a school is a very proper place for a child to develop. For a child, your career counseling, maybe I'm diverting a little bit away from the topic, so I'll come back to it. When I'm doing a career talk in a particular institution, that child is only focused on nursing or a police or some from good schools, some who are a little bit developed. They say, I want to become an IAS, I want to become an IPS, I want to become an army officer. But when they say that, it's not that that has come from inside. When they say I want to become something, it is just the interest. It is just they see other people, and many times I have seen that they get influenced by third parties. Maybe they get influenced by the peers. अब अर्को साथीले गर्यो हैन म पनि गर्छु, उले गर्यो म पनि गर्छु. Some get influenced by the parents. Like we want our child to become a doctor or an engineer. We are still in that stage where we want our child to become a doctor or an engineer. We don't think about any other career when there is a plethora of career options available. So here comes the role of career counseling. Career counseling, like what ma'am has said, it is an art. I don't agree with being it's called a scientific career counseling. But what I think is that the art of counseling, the process of counseling is an art which everybody cannot do it. But the way it is, the method that is applied, that is scientific. I think I would like to say it in that way. The art of the process, the way we counsel a child, that is an art. Everybody cannot do it. But the method that is applied, like the psychometric test, assessment interest test, aptitude test, personality test, that is done it scientifically. That is done it in a standardized way. So I would like to call it as because in some way that is a process in art, it's a scientific thing. So what I feel is that today, hamro generation ko naniharulai chai काउन्सिलिङको एकदमै दरकार छ, बिकज आई एम अ भेरी गुड इक्जाम्पल अफ द्याट. म भनिहालेँ, म कालिम्पोङकै हो. I did my graduation from Little Ribbon. After that, I did my LLB, then I did my LLM, and ultimately I landed up as this is my second job. I landed up as Block Disaster Management Officer, where I worked for 5 years. Then after that, I left that job. Then again, I did my WBCS. Now I am here. र के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि, maybe if I had got a proper guidance, then I would have been some other thing. That I cannot say, but अब भाग्यमै त्यही थियो होला. द्याट इज वाट वी से युजली. अब टाउकोमा लेखेको त्यही थियो होला, त्यही भयो भन्छौँ होइन. बट आई डोन्ट थिङ्क इट्स अलवेज भाग्यमा लेखेको, बिकज हाउ वी मुभ अबाउट इट, हाउ वेयर वी टेक इट, द्याट म्याटर्स अ लट. एन्ड काउन्सिलिङ हेल्प्स इन दिस. किनभने हामी कता जान्छौँ, हामी एउटा सही दिशामा जानुपर्ने हो. कुन दिशामा मेरो म एउटा करियर गरेँ, मैले लमा पनि त गर्नु सक्थेँ. वेन आई हेभ डन LLM, then I could have taken up law, because all my friends, like Roshni is a living example of me, because she was my junior in college, right? But I never went in for law. I never went to court a single day, because what happened, mero ke bhayo bhane, I did my LLB, then LLB sakera what I realized is that practicing as an advocate is not my cup of tea. I cannot take up a case, I cannot fight a case and ask for a money. मलाई यति रुपियाँ दिनुहोस्, एफिडेभिट गऱ्यो, लु मलाई एफिडेभिटको 500 रुपियाँ दिनुहोस्. म माग्नु सक्दिनँ त्यसरी. कसैले दियो भने दियो होइन. अनेस्टली दिस इज अ प्र्याक्टिकल थिङ होइन. मलाई कसैले दियो भने दियो, म जति दियो त्यतिमै सन्तुष्टि. तर आई क्यानट चार्ज देम, यु पे मी, यु हेभ टु पे मी दिस भनेर. देन आई थट ओके, एलएलबी त म सक्दिनँ कोर्टमा जानु. I will continue with my masters, because if I take up masters, then I could have gone for teaching. That was another option left for me. Then again, what I thought, teaching ta abo एउटै कुरो every day पढाउनु पर्छ. It goes and on. Because I forgot to mention one thing. I first started my career as a teacher. I taught history in Algada High Secondary School. Algada High Secondary School ma first HS start भएको थियो, and they were looking for teachers, so I just joined for a year or so. There also I have my experience as a teaching. So त्यही कुरा again I have to repeat the same thing again and again and again. School ma ठिकै छ, college ma हो भने I have to study throughout my life. My God, that is never ending. I cannot come back home and again sit with my books with my children. त्यो पनि that was not my cup of tea. Then again I left that also. Then again I joined this. अब म ब्लकमा गर्दै थिएँ होइन. देन एभ्रिबडी सेड, ए तिमी एलएलएम गरेर के यो ब्लकमा गर्छौ होइन. अब तिमी यु सिट फर डब्लुबिसी, वाट आर यु डुइङ, यु सिट फर एक्जाम. लु बसिदिएँ अब होइन. मेरो लाइफको मैले एक्सपिरियन्स भनेको, बसेँ म डब्लुबिसिएस. एकैतालमा पास पनि भएँ. फेरि पास भएछ, इम्प्लोइमेन्ट सर्भिस आयो होइन. हियर अल्सो ओके, अहिले होम पोस्टिङ चाहिँ आई एम फाइन विथ इट, बट still I am not fully, I cannot say I am fully satisfied with my job. र करियर काउन्सिलिङ चाहिँ कति बेला चाहिन्छ भन्दाखेरि, when it helps a student to make a right choice of career for themselves. र त्यति बेला चाहिँ करियर काउन्सिलिङको रोल आउँछ होइन. करियर काउन्सिलिङ सब अब जस्तो म्यामले भन्नुहुँदैछ, टिचर्सहरूले गर्नु सक्नुहुन्छ. टिचर्सहरूले अफकोर्स डेफिनेटली दे क्यान डु इट. तर के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि करियर काउन्सिलिङमा चाहिँ अलिकति एउटा साइकोलोजिकल ब्याकग्राउन्ड भएको छ भने अझै वाट आई फिल इज द्याट वुड बी मोर इफेक्टिभ, बिकज एभ्रिबडी क्यानट डु इट. जस्तो अब हामी इम्प्लोइमेन्ट अफिसमा छु, मैले अघि भनिहालेँ, आई गो टु स्कुल्स, आई गिभ करियर टक्स एन्ड अल, बट आई क्यानट गिभ देम द होल इन्फर्मेसन अबाउट एभ्रिथिङ. द्याट इज म जुन चाहिँ द्याट इज जस्ट अ जेनरल थिङ. आई क्यान सजेस्ट देम होइन, यो गर्नु सक्छौ, त्यो गर्नु सक्छौ, बट आई डोन्ट नो वाट इज द पोटेन्सियल, वाट इज द एप्टिट्युड अफ द चाइल्ड. आई डोन्ट नो द इन्टेलिजेन्स, आई डोन्ट नो हर इन्ट्रेस्ट, आई डोन्ट नो एनी अफ द थिङ अफ द चाइल्ड. सो आई क्यानट से ए तिमी पुलिसमा जान्छौ, पुलिसमा त यस्तो हुन्छ उस्तो हुन्छ. आई क्यानट से द्याट होइन. यो जान्छौ भने जाऊ न त तिमी, यु हेभ इन्ट्रेस्ट अन द्याट, यु डु इट. वी क्यान नेभर से सिन्स आई हेभ एन इन्ट्रेस्ट, यु जस्ट डु इट. बिकज along with that, every profession, I think all of you all will agree with that, every profession, each and every profession has pros and cons with it. each and every profession. No profession has only pros. Each and every profession has pros and cons. And a person should know how to live with the cons side. It's not only the pros. हैन अब मेरो अहिले मलाई सबैले ठाटसँगले यत्रो डेजिग्नेसन लिएर चेयरमा बसेको देख्छ तर त्यसको पछाडी को छ त्यो त मलाई थाहा हुँदैन नि त आज तपाईहरु टिचर हुनुहुन्छ you all are facing the students after 2 years who have become dull and dumb that I can guarantee हैन त्यो अनलाइन क्लासमा मात्रै गर्यो because I have seen my own girls भिडियो अन गर they have मेरो नानीहरु सेन्ट जोसेफ्स कन्भेन्टमा पढ्छ हैन and they have a very tight schedule of they used to have a very tight schedule of classes on your video on गर why aren't you on भिडियो किन अन छैन कसैले त गरेको छैन उले त गर्छ होस् न सुन्दै छु त मैले सुने भने भइगयो त it's not about that यो अनलाइन क्लास गरेको त तिमीलाई देख्नु हो हैन because the teacher will know what you are doing अन्त गरिराको छ त्यहाँ त्यो WhatsAppहरु गरिराको छ बात मारिराको छ this has happened because this has happened in my house also it's not that मेरो नानीहरु अब केयरलेस छ I will not say that because when they were school they are okay मेरो नानीहरुको त्यस्तो academic performance त्यस्तो पुअर पनि छैन it's okay but अब मेरै राम्रो नानीहरु where I am constantly guiding them त त्यस्तो छ भने सबैको घरमा त्यो environment छैन नि त हैन त्यो एन्भाइरोन्मेन्ट त सबैकोमा हुँदैन कति जना पेरेन्ट्सले नानीहरुलाई गाइड गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ त्यो त एकदमै फ्यू हो दैट इज जस्ट अ ह्यान्डफुल त्यस्तो छ त्यस्तोलाई तपाईहरुले आज झेल्नु हुँदैछ गर्नु हुँदैछ हैन सो अब बिग अप्लॉज टु एभ्रीवन ऑल द टीचर्स प्रेजेन्ट हियर आई रियली सल्युट यु ऑल हैन यो मैले आज तपाईहरुलाई बढाइ चढा बिकज आई हेभ एक्सपीरियन्स what it is as being a teacher हैन के गर्नु त स्कुलमा के को लागि हामी पठाउँछ र आई रिक्वेस्ट माने यहाँ आज टिचर्सहरु हुनुहुन्छ सर हुनुहुन्छ क्याप्टन मणि प्रसाद सर हुनुहुन्छ है म चाहिँ के भन्छु भने हाम्रो यो फ्युचर प्रोग्राम्समा जुन चाहिँ हाम्रो करियर टकको प्रोग्राम छ हामी तपाईहरुको स्कुलमा वी विल लाइक टु कम एन्ड अप्रोच र यहाँ पनि हामीले कुनै करियर काउन्सिलिङ हामीले कुनै स्कोप पायौं भने वी विल जस्ट go with it and you all please kindly give us the permission to conduct so that we can help our children to become a better people right thank you so much for listening to me for giving me this opportunity especially Roshni Baini she was the one to invite me and thank you all
So thank you very much Rinzala ma'am Deputy Director Employment Exchange Government West Bengal मा कार्यरत हुनुहुन्छ र विशेष रूपले जुन कुराहरु उहाँले भने प्रत्येक ठाउँको परिवेश बेग्लै हुन्छ प्लेन्स र हिल्सको स्टुडेन्ट्सको कुरो मिल्दैन जब क्राइसिसको कुरा उहाँले गर्नुभयो एभ्री चाइल्ड इज ट्यालेन्टेड भन्ने कुरो पनि साँचो कुरा उहाँले राखे तर दिशानिर्देश व्हाट इज द राइट टाइम टु काइन्ड अफ इन्टरभीन एज अ काउन्सिलर एज अ पेरेन्ट एज अ टिचर इन वाट एभर क्यापेसिटी द्याट यु फिट इन सो द्याट द चाइल्ड gets the right career path in front of him. So that is where society as a whole works. Thank you, ma'am. You also talked about child psychology. Pratik balak ani balik ne afna मनोविज्ञानले हुर्किन्छन् हैन. So that is where we kind of intervene. But at the end, I think counseling is very important with right help from various perspectives and angles. And now to invite our last panelist to address the August gathering of teachers. She has 15 years of experience right, in marketing, communication and digital content marketing because aile mahamari pachi when we enter into the new normal which we've already entered into, so everything will definitely go digital, online, whether you like it or you don't like it, that we'll have to ponder over it seriously. In the days to come, there's already a discussion that institutions physically may not exist as such in the days to come because when things actually go digital, you'll have the option of actually attending offline or be there online, your presence. So we have the founder of Techwala K3 Solutions Private Limited, Kolkata, and closely working with Apt Mentors Company. She is one of the founders. Brinda Das is going to bring in her perspective of what unbiased, genuine counseling is all about. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. And delighted to be here and be a part of this discussion, this event. Respected teachers, educators, panelists, and really love the unique insights. Really loved the unique and unique insights and thoughts from them. Well, indeed, counseling, we all of us know what unbiased and ideal counseling is all about. But when it comes to practice, very few people are aware of how to put it into right practice. Now, just to share a few insights about knowing yourself, knowing the students, knowing this generation learners. There are 8 kind of learning styles. It includes audio, it includes visual learners, it includes social learners, it includes kinesthetic learners who are very good in sports. It includes solitary learners, okay, who loves to learn on his or her own. And then aptitude. We are very familiar with this concept, aptitude. But what is aptitude? 6 parameters decide aptitude: your numerical ability, your verbal ability, your logical reasoning ability, your rapid evaluation ability. Okay, so cognitive ability, which is your learning ability, how fast, how well you can learn. And then your personality, whether you are an introvert, you are an extrovert, you are an ambivert, that also determines a lot. And that also are indicators as to what should be a student's ideal career path. Okay, and then interest. A child can show very high interest, can show very high aptitude, score very high in numerical, but can display interest, exhibit interest in creative field. So will that child study engineering? Well, no. That child can also be given an option of studying media science, so which can do justice to their aptitude. So a lot of options, avenues open up for that learner, for that student. So in my 17 years of experience with the education community, in education and counseling, I have interacted with students, I have interacted with teachers, and I have found a lot of engineers who have sidestepped and become musicians. So many engineers join the reality shows and sing, and they join a band, and they forget about engineering. There are so many teachers who are not teachers by passion, just teaching happened to them. Okay, and there are so many coders who become videographers. There are so many IS officers. English August, please read English August. So this person, as the whole family of IS, has this person has become an IS because his whole family was an IS, and how he struggled to come in sync and be in harmony with his career. It's such a struggle, and somewhere I feel it's a waste of time. Okay, so parents, a lot of parents, I agree with Latika madam that counseling should not be monopolized by few. Okay, counseling cannot be monopolized by few. Parents should be counselors, teachers should be counselors, tutors should be counselors, friends should be counselors. Why am I saying this? Because now what is happening is counseling is career counseling is very institution centric. So when students pass class 12, then they approach institutions, and these institutions offer courses and give information, and very good information about careers and scope related to different careers. That's excellent, but that is not catering to the students' interest. And even the student, the more alarming side is, even the student is not aware as to what his interest is. Even the parent is not aware about what his or her child's interest is. So that is the part that we must address with the right methodologies and the right tools. So institution-centric counseling is going on. Another very informal way of counseling is, parents giving advice to their children. It can be very judgmental. It has its own risks. It can be very judgmental. It can be very personal, perception-driven. One can think that being an actor is not a good profession. But what if the child has the talent to be an excellent actor? We do worship actors. It's not that engineers don't like Amitabh Bachchan. We do appreciate them, laud them. Lata Mangeshkar, singer, and athletes. We complain that when India our country doesn't win enough medals when they go for Olympics. So we complain. But are we looking at children who have kinesthetic intelligence and can be developed accordingly from a very young age? No, they are appearing for NIIT. They are appearing for NEET. They are appearing for joint entrance. They are investing lakhs of rupees on preparation. They are investing lakhs of rupees on becoming a doctor, maybe giving donations. And after making that huge investment, halfway they suddenly see they are meant for something else. And then what happens? They become demotivated, they become dejected, they lose interest in life, and mental health issues come up, and depressions come up. We have a lot of depression issues in the current age. Why? Because Apt Mentors is about study what you love. And how do you know whether what you're studying is what you love? So this self-introspection, unfortunately, is missing among parents. We don't encourage our children to be introspective. And now, at this stage, probably a scientific career assessment is a way. It may not be the perfect way, but it is a way to draw your attention to self. So when I give that test, it is not my mood on that day. It is the data which I have in me. It is in my codes, in my DNA, my habits, my learning habits, and I answer accordingly in the career test, assessment test. It's not syllabus driven. There's nothing right and wrong about that test. It's just data about you and mirroring back to you your own traits, which you just need to read, understand, interpret, and then make your decisions, not to discourage students, but to encourage them in whatever they decide to do. Their career recommendations. So if a student finds that I'm good in numerical and I'm not so good in verbal, that student should, that the teacher of that student, the parent of that student should encourage that student to take classes, to take communication classes, to write more, read more, interact more. Because if that student is venturing into a professional career, that person needs to interact. That person needs to have a combination of all skills. And if that candidate needs to survive in the corporate world, it's actually a combination of all skills. So if you don't know where you are lagging behind, how can you prepare for that kind of career? That is very, very important. So this psychometric test gives you an idea about your aptitude, various parameters about your aptitude. Learning, whether you have the learning ability, no matter what we learn today. Even as teachers, I'm sure you're facing that whatever you've learned is not what is actually coming into use in your day-to-day life. You are learning even today. You are learning how to blend classes, online and offline classes. And your students also need to have that learning attitude towards life. And it must be driven somewhere. The learning doesn't stop with the syllabus we are teaching in schools. And when it comes to individualize, the risk of counseling the way we like is it doesn't follow a method. And we are not talking about exceptional students. Exceptional students will do well. They will find their path. We are talking about those students who may struggle, who are struggling, no matter which background they are coming from, whether it's hills, whether it's plains. Students are not guided. They are not misguided, because misguided is a term which carries a lot of, allegation. No allegation, no insults intended. But none of us are aware. Even the influencers are not aware as to what career counseling and scientific career counseling is all about. It is not about undermining your heart. It is not about undermining your emotions. It is about knowing yourself and taking certain tools, the help of certain tools and technologies. We are taking help of technologies, right? So we, from classroom, we are graduating into online classrooms. So it's not that technology will dominate in future. I don't agree with that. Personal interaction will also play a very, very important part. But yes, in our pie chart of communication and learning, different mediums are getting added. And it's just about opening our mind to different kinds of revolutions that are happening, different kind of learning resources which are coming. We must open our mind, embrace them, accept them, take the right things from them. That depends on our personal judgment. So everybody should be counselors, but they should know what counseling is all about. We are talking about psychological counseling. Well, psychological counseling and career counseling and education counseling are slightly different. A student going through depression, a child going through depression will be counseled in a different way. But when a child is confused, when a child doesn't know what future to take up, what kind of career path they should take up, that counseling is different. When a child needs to be counseled on food habits, that counseling is different. Even a nutritionist is a counselor. But the question is, with our school students, we need all kinds of counseling, but we should not accept that psychological counseling will help them to choose their right fit careers. Because information, Latika ma'am is right, because there's information explosion out there. One of the reasons students are confused is because of this information available to them. They don't know which one to focus on. Even we don't know as adults what is the right path, what is the right tool, what is the right way. So we have to zero in on the right choices. Ultimately, we have to choose. Choosing and selecting is very important. We are always floating in information. We are never coming to decisions. And what is more important is students should become their own counselors. They can take advice. They should be open to recommendations. They should be open to listening to the experiences of their seniors. They should be humble, but they should also know what they want to do in life, what they love to do in life. So this is what I wanted to talk about. Career assessment or education assessment is not only about, it's not only science. It is art, and science is also art. Understanding science is also an art. And students must combine, and the parents and the teachers, everyone in the community must combine the science and art of counseling. And they just should know what are the tools available for them to help them, assist them in the right kind of career counseling. That's what I wanted to, that's my message to all the teachers and educators, and thank you for listening to me.
So thank you, Brinda ma'am. and in particular talking about English August, which has also been one of my favorite, Upamanyu Chatterjee's wonderful book. Yes, Raoul Bose was there in the movie, I guess. A fantastic book to read. So you pondered upon many priorities, many facts, which I'll put it down very briefly. So the kind of career counseling that you do and call it customized, or what is the reflection of your own personality via the psychometric test and so on, and how you also told us that every 21st century's teacher is a 21st century's learner, because in the meantime, when you're giving information, you're also learning from the students, and everyone can be a counselor. There are multiple counselors. You can look at it from various perspectives. Nutrition, psychological counseling is very important, because before you go for career counseling or so-called scientific counseling, the psychology of every child has to be addressed to, because every child has his or her own problem and the community that person comes from. So it's been overall a wonderful assessment of what, within inverted commas, a proper structured scientific counseling is all about. And especially I also like the fact that you talked about good ones will of course venture on their own because they are good, so-called, academically, but the struggling students, which Captain Prakash and Pradhan also like to convert the weaker ones into the performers, is important. If you really think about bringing a change, the good ones will definitely do, but the struggling are the ones, not necessarily, but conversion of, because they lack motivation and directional approach. Yes, because, yes, the rural areas problem is different, the urbans is different. Not everyone's, but definitely. Correct. Again, it depends on your perception, on your definition, because. So that again, this we leave it up to the audience. If at all you have any queries, please be precise, to the point. Ek duta prashna tapaile raख्न सक्नुहुन्छ to the panelists on stage. Anyone? Yes, Yogita ma'am.
A very big thank you to all the panelists. It was quite a brainstorming session. We got to hear about career counseling from different perspectives, people from different fields. It was very interesting, of course. A few observations. First, to Latika ma'am. It's not a question, okay? It's just an add up. One of the suggestions that you gave was, yes, you pointed out that teachers could be the best counselors because they are the ones.
If they add a degree of diploma counseling.
I'll come to that, yes. So because they are the ones who spend maximum time with the children, and so like they could be counselors if they get an added diploma or something. I mean, they get that scientific thing attached to their counseling. So I feel that, of course, it's not possible to change the whole system, but at least at the school level, what the school could do was encourage teachers, give them a leave of, I mean, I don't know how long that diploma can take, to go for such courses. Like at the school level, when you teach, we are made to do B.Ed. My personal experience, I think B.Ed is one of the most impractical courses.
Very true.
But still we have to do it. Even I did it. That's why. So instead of that, of course that is there, but the school authority could encourage teachers to go for such career counseling courses and get an added qualification. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. No questions, I told you.
Just one thing. I was teaching at a school in DPS Delhi, and for specially challenged students, we had teachers who had special qualifications who could deal with that. But they were normal teachers like us, only that they had this special diploma which could help them. Okay, this helps the school save its resources to actually utilize the resource in the right way. That's the point I was trying to make. I'm not against counseling. Don't forget the points I said in the prose, okay? Thanks.
Okay, and the second one to Ms. Rinzila Sherpa. As a parent and as a career counselor and as your experience. It was very interesting. And ma'am, you said that you conduct career counseling programs in schools. I am convener of career counseling committee of my college, Kalimpong College. I've just been deputed that. So I'm a learner, inexperienced in that way. So, but I would love to have you in the college, if our authority permits, that is.
We have to approach the schools, and we'll be starting with the fresh from this April for the new academic and new financial year. So I'll contact you. I'll come to you.
Thank you, ma'am. And of course, and like here, we talked about making choices. The children should be able to make choices. But I teach in Kalimpong College. No offenses, but the students that we have in our college is, of course, not the creamy ones. They come from economically weaker sections. The leftovers, so as to say, who get admission in all the good colleges, they come there. And I don't know, I don't know how far they can afford to make choices in all sense of the term. Okay? And the thing is, as I told you, when I got deputed as that convener of career counseling committee, we planned to have a notice board in the college where we will put up career openings. And the first thing that we thought of putting up was opening for police, army recruitment, and nursing, because that is what our children can afford to do. I don't know whether they will, even if they know that they are good in music, they're good in sports, and if they get recruited in police, in constable post also, I don't know whether they will be able to give that up and go for music. I'm talking about my college students in particular, of course, not everyone. So for this, this state, of the students, what are the career options, the choices they can afford to make? That's what I wanted to know.
हाम्रो जुन समाज छ, हाम्रो अहिले समाजको र जुन हामी क्लास जुन क्याटेगोरीको नानीहरू हामीसँग अहिले पढ्छौँ, स्पेशली गभर्नमेन्ट कलेजेस हैन, जुन क्लासको नानीहरू, जुन सोसाइटीको नानीहरू आउँछ, दे बेसिकली प्रेफर गभर्नमेन्ट जब्स. सो द्याट वाज द सेम विथ मी. That is why I landed up with disaster management as disaster management officer. And the एउटा जसो तसो, the government job, if we get into one, that is over for all of us. And after that, we do not think about anything. That had happened to me also, because I shared my experiences, I know. So in that case, nowadays what we do is, from our side, from our employment exchange, we conduct special coaching classes for different competitive exams. This is for the information of all of you all. That is for free. And this we conduct every month for different exams. Last month we were having for WBCS preliminary. After that, we have for SSC Staff Selection Commission, HS level, graduate level, banking, railway recruitment. So basically their preference is government job. So besides that, apart from that government job, there are very few, like I said, like I've conducted few of the career talks in some of the schools, like I conducted in Juddabir, then with Algara Higher Secondary School, then with Pranami Balika Vidya Mandir, then with SUMI. From these schools, what I have gathered is that most of the children, they prefer government jobs. They say it provides a security. So that is one of the first options. That is why they prefer, everybody prefers for that. And we have just a handful of students who prefer for other career choices. So for them also we can give them provide them a guidance. So I tell them, whenever I visit a school or a college, I always tell them, if you all need any sort of help, any kind of help, then I'm always there. I'm always available in the office. I'm always there to provide assistance to them. So for your information, if any of the students who are willing to sit for any of the competitive exams, they can always contact me. They can just give me their number and name. And from now, one benefit which I have got after the COVID is that I'm given the permission to conduct these classes online, and which I personally monitor the classes, because what happens is usually the classes are done via Google Meet and most of the students vanish. So I have created a WhatsApp group of the students who are interested in conducting the classes, and I have also maintained a list register where the students who people who come to my office, I maintain their contact number and I just add them in the group. So if they are interested, they can attend the classes, and this they can do it sitting at home for no cost, because we have our classes are mainly conducted by the professionals only, and who are into that field, providing coaching classes. So when this benefit of free coaching classes is available at your doorstep, why not attend it? So you can always tell so whenever I visit, I will definitely tell, but before that you can always give them this information that these type of coaching classes takes on money if they come to my office, I will just add them in the group and they can always take the classes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And one more thing, we of course we would love to have professionals coming and counseling our students, but the cost behind it, the thing our students can afford.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's where we lag again. We know that it's important for the children, but we are not able to do it.
Yes, that point is
So,
also there.
Is there any way to work this out?
Actually, we are also not certified counselors, so we just provide them help. But still, I can look for other ways. Let's see if we can do it along with Roshni. That is what Roshni had told me. Like in collaboration with them, if we can provide for that, I will definitely do it.
Yes, exactly,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, we are also talking about having collaboration with the other
Yes,
colleges,
yes.
like we have Cluny in the vicinity. So if we could do it that way,
Because
then
we
it
also,
would
from
be
our
most welcome.
government side, we don't have any such thing as career counseling. What we do is just a career talk. It's not even a sort of guidance, because that is a general thing which we tell. We just deliver the information to the students, like what they can do, what are the options, what are the careers that is available in the market. We just discuss about the various different careers. So we don't go in deeply into those careers. And I also am not a certified counselor, so I also cannot explain to them in a very detailed manner. But still, we can, if we all come together, we can definitely make it. So I hope to get cooperation from Roshni in future. I have already talked to her about this. So if we can do it, let's make a thing. Let's
Yes,
make
ma'am,
it
yes,
happen.
ma'am. At least only this much
Yes,
also
ma'am,
should
yes,
be
ma'am.
good
Thank
for
you
our
so much.
students, because
Thank you so much.
taking psychometric tests
Yes,
and
I'm
all.
always there. I will definitely do it from my side. Whatever I can do, I will definitely
Thank you.
do
Thank
it.
you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. We have from St. Joseph's Convent. Really छोटो राख्नु so that we can actually wind up this session.
Hello, ma'am. This question is for Brinda, ma'am. So she got me really curious when she, got this topic of psychometric tests. So are there any tests that we as teachers can administer to our students in schools that are cheap, reliable, and the diagnosis is can be done by us also? Thank you, ma'am. That's the question.
That's a very good question. Yes, that's what I meant when I said that every one of us can be counselors if we have the right tools and we know how to interpret them. And this Apt Mentors Career Assessment Test, which we are doing in association with Career Futura, they are our technical partners. It's a 40 years research which has gone into compiling this test. Educationists, psychologists, and industry experts from across different fields and countries have contributed to develop a test like this. And what you get is a very comprehensive narrative and a very objective narrative of the student's aptitude, abilities, personality, learning styles, study habits. Okay, so basically, if you ask me, it is not a rocket science to understand. Teachers who are very aware and especially teaching present age students, they might be familiar with a lot of these terms. They just need to put two and two together. So this test is very user friendly. The test report, the test, nothing wrong, nothing right about it. It is just that there's a link. The student can appear for the test in a desktop online and complete it within maximum 1 hour to 90 minutes time, 1.5 hours time. So it has verbal section, personality section, and 6 aptitude sections. And after the test is taken in 24 hours time, a test report is generated, and that test report is a 25 pages document which gives a very comprehensive understanding of the test. Even what we do, we are certified counselors, yes, of this exam. We put all this information together, talk one-on-one with the students and understand their aptitude, their background, their interest. Okay, we also see how much it is matching with their report. Okay, and we give them recommendations accordingly. However, we can also deliver a training to the teachers wherein they can also be equipped to translate and interpret this report and use it to their advantage. So this is an information, this is a tool which is not only monopolized by professional counselors. And you don't actually, you don't need a formal degree or a diploma to do this. You already have experience. You can assimilate the information provided. It's just a very structured and methodical way of giving the information to you. So the information is not scattered, it's given in a very organized way. So you are able to deliver this information in a very effective way to the students, wherein they can understand what you're talking about. You can give good recommendations. You can understand the learning habits of the students. And this career test is segmented. It is not a generic test. So class 8 students will have a different kind of career assessment. It's not a career assessment, it's a education assessment report for class 8-9 students. When students are in class 10, this test report gives them understanding about career assessment, gives them helps them to choose their streams. So this test will not take a leap into the future and give you a verdict that you will be a scientist in future. This test gathers the data, the present state of the student and their present state of ability. As a teacher, if you know this student, maybe you're a science teacher, I don't know which background you're coming from, you're a science teacher. So your student takes this test and you see that your student is not scoring high on numerical ability, cognitive ability. And then you must give that extra effort for that student. You take extra classes for increasing his numerical ability, quants classes. Even in competitive exams, these are important. They are simultaneously preparing them without realizing for competitive exams at a very formative stage. Getting an idea, okay, this student is good in verbal, so it is his or her strength. So accordingly, he can communicate his ideas, her ideas, and has creative interest. So that student can be guided for media science study. And media science is not only about taking photographs. There's a whole new world out there. Media management is there. You can be journalists, you can be wildlife photographers, you can be videographers, you can digital marketing also. Involves a lot of verbal aptitude. A digital marketer is has a lot of verbal ability, and also is combines technical ability. So it's a combination of these two skills. So you can get a lot of information in advance, and you know how to guide the students based on a, that's why we call it scientific, because based on a data which is not a figment of our imagination. It is coming right inside from the student. And this information is very, very important for the teachers. This is information for the teachers. And whether the student is introvert, extrovert, nowadays a student needs to interact in the corporate world. Team spirit, team skill is very important component. So that is how the entire test helps you to understand and guide the students in future. Thank you.
So thank you, Brinda ma'am, and thank you to everyone, the teachers who are present here for this special teachers conclave on the importance of scientific counseling for higher secondary institutions, for students in particular. And rightly started by Latika ma'am that counseling is an art, but the tools applied can be scientific, and which Brinda ma'am and ma'am herself, Renzila ma'am, they've talked about. I hope teachers, you go back to your respective institutions and take this message and be effective counselors yourselves. Get into the tools relevant with making counseling more effective. Thank you so much to the three panelists. Thank you very much for making the session really lively. And of course, to this wonderful audience and a perfect place, the Shire. Thank you, Sonam sir, for this wonderful ambience. र आजको प्रमुख अतिथि हामी माझ हुनुहुन्छ जो दशकौँदेखि शिक्षा क्षेत्रमा लागेर निपुणता उहाँले हासिल गरिसक्नुभएको छ र काउन्सलिङ सुरु गर्ने पनि रकवेल एकाडेमी धेरै वर्ष अघि उहाँले सुरु गरेका थिए एन्ड फ्रम टाइम टु टाइम पेन्डेमिकमा पनि प्रकाश सर माइसेल्फ एन्ड केटिभी वर इन्भल्भ इन टेकिङ काउन्सलिङ लाइभ टु भेरियस अडियन्स राइट अक्रस द ग्लोब वी युज टु हेभ रेगुलर सेसन्स हामीले थुप्रै कामहरू त्यहाँ गरेका थियौँ सो ही क्यारिज लोज अफ एक्सपिरियन्स as an educator. He understands what the students, the relevance of students in the hills, talking from a different perspective. Hills ko bhindai ho, plains ko scenario bhindai ho. So you make it more personalized because this is a different scenario altogether, unlike the plain scenario. So ladies and gentlemen, Zorda Thapaleko Saath, I would like to invite Captain Prakash Mani Pradhan to say a few words, sir.
Good afternoon to members of the dais. First of all, I did not know I was the chief guest, so I came absolutely blank. So I was very happy that I would not have to say anything. I came because Mr. Sudesh Mukhya, very good friend of mine and like a brother to me, he invited me, and then he told me Run with Roshni is also a part of the organizers. So again, my association with Run with Roshni goes a long way back, so I could not say no. And then I came here. Then when I came here, then I found that they are members on the dais. Then I found some connection with them also. One is Miss Latika. She's a class friend of my wife. They studied in Loreto and Mount Amen together, I think. Okay, so I keep interacting with her on a different level. And then I discovered Deputy Mrs. Rinjala Sherpa. She's an ex-student of Dr. Graham Soames, and I'm from Dr. Graham Soames. Again, that connection comes, whichever school you go to. Okay, so that connection. And of course, Miss Brinda Das, she's here. I didn't expect. I came expecting, my expectations were low. Not from you, I said from what I would be learning out here. But I've been a learner right from the beginning, because I came here, and the third and the most important reason I came here was when Sudesh told me that there's going to be a kind of a counseling session, the scientific counseling, there's going to be a discussion. And I am a principal by default, like many of you sitting out here, that side also, I'm a principal by default. I am even an army man by default. So, I am a default in a sense. Again, I am a product of where there was no counseling, or for that matter, even there was no scientific counseling or any kind of counseling. I belong to that generation. So in that way, so I joined the army not because I wanted to be, I loved the army, I was motivated to serve the country and those kind of stuff. I joined the army by default because my father kept, after I did my graduation, I finished my college, and I did in Delhi University. Then I came back, and then expectations of my father was very high. He wanted me to sit for civil services. So then we used to have this father-son discussions at home every day. And every day after I came back, I wanted to chill for some time. I wanted to travel. I wanted to chill out. I wanted to go to Gangtok to meet my friends. I wanted to go to Kathmandu. Then he used to keep scolding me and said, "To kam lagdan rase, tro padera, kam lagdan rase." Bandakari chai. Then to ease my frustrations, I used to go to the billiard room. Billiard was a little out of bounds then. Ramro Ketaru, Ramro Gorko Ketaru, whatever. You're not supposed to go to billiard room. But so we used to go there. And the owner of one of the billiard room, one day I was sitting there to my frustration. I wanted to run away from home because if I go home, my father would one-point agenda. One-point agenda. You have to do this. So it was kind of a thing. Then I landed up. Then that day he had a form of combined defense. He says, "Why don't guys like you are fit for army, why don't you sit for examination and all that thing?" So I bought the employment news where the advertisement was. I filled it up in front of my father just to earn his respect once again. So I filled up the form. Then, as luck would have it, I also passed in first attempt, then went for SSB, and then I got. And then there was a big discussion in my house whether I should go for army or not go for army. Then, of course, good sense, prevalent sense, I did. Somebody in my family prevailed on my parents, because at that time my mother was very reluctant. He said at that time Parambir Chakra was coming on TV. So she didn't want her son to be a martyr. She was not bothered about Parambir Chakra and anything else like that. So anyway, I went there, short service commission. I came back. So even the army was kind of a default. No career counseling, nobody to guide me whatsoever. And then subsequently, by that time my father had established a school. So by default, when I came back, I left on 7th of March 1992. 9th of March I came back, and then he put me in the hot seat. So when he put me in the hot seat, as I said, I didn't know ABCD of education. I'm not from education side. Even now, I'm not an educationist in that way. But the desire to learn was there. Now, if I'm an army, then I got to learn everything that is got to do with the army. If I am in the hot seat or in the seat of a principal or an educationist or an educator and all these terms that keep flying around, then I decided I must learn as much as possible. That there has to be a desire to learn. Whatever profession that you have chosen, you have to try to be the best in that profession. Why can't? But I thought I don't have high sounding qualifications to learn. In fact, if you have too high sounding qualifications also, you get into a kind of an intellectual trap that I know already. Like somebody might not have come here because, oh, I know all this scientific bakwas, all this thing, I know everything. They may not come, but there's always something to learn in if you go to any forums, any situation, from any person for that matter, be it high sounding, be it somebody from your own staff, group D staff, any kind of, from your student, there's as one of the panelists pointed out, you can always learn from each and every one. But the day you close this and you just rely on your qualification, that is the day your education also stops. So the fourth reason I came here is I have not made an effort to stop from learning. I have tried to be, I may not be the best, but I have always tried to be the best in my profession. So coming from a totally different background to a totally different background, and I am very convinced that this is the way forward. As ma'am was suggesting, we'll do this counseling. Ma'am Roshni, we'll do this together. Okay, I feel I want to take it at a different level. I think all the stakeholders need to come together. All the stakeholders. Why only Miss Roshni, or why not us? Why not you? The entire education fraternity, the entire society, the parents, everybody needs to come together. Because what I've seen is totally unscientific. Whatever is happening is totally unscientific now. My experience now in school is, you have talked about the scientific method. Now I'll talk about the unscientific method which happens, which ma'am was talking about in the college also, right? The entire thing is the career counseling, or the entire the counseling, or the way the way people look for a job is security based, is status based. If you come from a little economically deprived family, then you are talking about security, financial security. And if you come from a little good background, then you're talking about status then. Now, my daughter is doing medical, but I don't want her to become a nurse because it doesn't go with my status now. I will drive her to become a doctor. So she's a good student, but today I don't want her to become a physiotherapist. I don't want her to, even a dentist for that matter, because in the hierarchy, MBBS is number one, then dentistry is number two, and then there are other BAMs and all the terms that I've just discovered, Ayurvedic and homeopathic, and that also becomes third or fourth in the hierarchy. I don't want my daughter. My daughter may be interested in Ayurvedic, but I will push my daughter into MBBS. That's where the status is. It's not about financial security then. So in that way, so in a society that is, why only Kalimpong? I think entire country, entire India, entire subcontinent, entire, I think Asia, if you look at it that way, apart from the West as in West, Joe Biden's West, huh? Not Putin's West. So in that way, I think the entire society, Africa and all these places, Asia, I think we are concerned about security. We are concerned about status. It plays a very important role. Very important role. So what I've seen, my personal experience in a school, is now most of them are blank. Most of them are blank, or most of them are confused. They would have heard from somewhere about, now if tomorrow we get career counselors, or we get marketing people actually disguised as counselors, they come to school, right? They represent the company, glib talkers. So when they come to school, when they talk about hospitality management, then I decide that I will want to join hospitality. So the sunshine industry, fantastic option. I'll go to Dubai, I'll join the cruise, I'll mint money, I'll see the world. Next day or next session, again somebody else lands up, BBA, or maybe you can think of other. Can you just help me with the air hostess? The hospitality is connected to air hostess. Or you can join air hostess, you can become this, you can become that, everything. Then somebody comes, paramedical, engineering, then you want to become everything. So by the time all these counselors are finished, you would have become everything. This is how a career is decided. And that also, at least some progress has taken place. In that context, at least some progress, the school has taken the initiative that now you're a great principal that you are, or the school is great that you have taken, because actually these are marketing people who've knocked on your doors. The school has not taken any step to arrange for what the student requires. You got to see what does, depending on, ma'am was talking college, you got to talk about what does you got to look at your startup society that your children come from, what are the hopes, aspirations of the parents. All those factors need to be looked into before letting them walk into your school, right? So, but what is happening now, I'm also part of it, I'm very much a part of it. We let in anybody and everybody who knocks on your doors, and they start talking to your students. Career counseling ho gaya. School, we also provide list of things. Academics, results good, discipline's good, extracurricular activities, we want, you can see the trophies behind me, that is also good. And we also do counseling. At time to time some counselor lands up from somewhere, psychological counselor. We are that also, that if you can do one single counseling session in a year also, that is also great. Principal feels absolutely great. And then, and if you all these marketing people who keep dropping into your school, and if you can have 5 to 6 sessions and put it in your school magazine, counseling bhi hota hai. We are a complete progressive school. Okay, so now this is the, I'm not blaming anyone, but this is how the unorganized sector works, right? So children, now how they decide, what do you want to do? Depends on my result. Simple. Depends. Can I have water, please? Don't mix anything. I'm just, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a part of this system, so I think I can talk about it, right? If I'm outside the system and I criticize the own system, then of course, I hope it's. Yeah. So this is how it works. So, and children now, up to class 10, nobody decides. It's only when we used to have autographs and what you want to go, name, profession, all that, we used to write doctor, engineer, all that thing. And when we ask them what you want to do, again, because of the status factor, now you have to say all the high sounding names. What you want to become? Some front bencher will always get up, Miss, doctor. Doctor, you भन्दा बेसी म गर्छु अब म IAS भन्छु अब म aeronautical engineer. Now you'll start thinking of all these high sounding names. I want to become aeronautical engineer. Entire class looks at him or her. Wow, that's how it goes. So actually, in reality, majority of students, I'm not saying they could be, there are always exceptions, but majority of the students would not have decided. My experience in Rockwell, I don't know about other schools, but what is good, what works for my, what is true for my school is probably true for all the schools also, right? So up to class 10, they would not have decided. This is my thing. And sometimes, and then in class 11, 12, then they make a major decision. They make a major decision. So I feel in class 10, before class 10, we need to counsel them once. Because they're taking such a major decision of choosing science, commerce and arts. Without realizing the interest, aptitude, scope, all these things that matter, they are just deciding, because I don't like maths. Because I don't like maths, I don't like chemistry, I don't like this, because I don't like the teacher, or sometimes they like the teacher. So all those factors which should not be playing on their mind, these become the factors which decide. Sometimes, as one of the panelists was pointing out, parental pressure, peer pressure, all these things, right? In my case, I took up commerce because the most brilliant chap, now he's a big businessman in Surat. So we all looked up to him because he seemed to know a little more than us. He said, commerce, become MBA, CA. He charted out for us. So all of us, we started, the commerce became thing without realizing. So all our friends, we started doing commerce. So one set of counseling, I think 9 and 10, when they start realizing, up to 8, I think you can do your psychometric test and all these things and discover your aptitude and interest and all these things. That can be done. Starting class 8? Class 8, 9, 10. Yeah, no, I'm starting in class 8. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you can do your thing, but 9 and 10, apart from the psychometric test, I think that along with that, the little bit of general counseling also needs to be introduced, and I think it should be a part of the curriculum. It should be a part of the curriculum, right? Because if you do as I said, the way the counseling is done today, it's whoever knocks on your doors, and if it's before test and after test and before exam, no, but this is so important. These are more important than the unit test and the class test and the half-yearly examination and final examinations, because based on that, you'll be taking your decision. But it has not come on top of the menu as of now. This counseling, as of now, I think all over, and this is supposed to be one of the hubs of education. 1846, first school, Loreto Convent, 150 years of legacy, but still these things has not come on the top of the list. It should have come on top of the list long time back. 1846, St. Paul's 1862. We rattle out, almost like politicians rattle out Hillsman Association, so and so date and so and so date and all that thing. Like that, we also, when we talk about education in Darjeeling, which was a hub one time, in entire Eastern India, in fact in India, we have somewhere lagged behind. And one of the reasons is also this: we have not been able to introduce a lot of reforms in education. The things that, as ma'am was talking about, adapting to changes. So these are here to stay. Maybe till 1970s and 80s, all the things were not required, because it was simple mathematics: 10 plus 2 plus 3. You did graduation, you sat for some government examination, you cracked it, and you got it. But today, the world has opened up so much now, especially this at the turn of the century. In the last 20 years, there's been a revolution. The kind of opportunities which are there for children are confused. Parents don't know. Even an educated parent doesn't know what to do. I take interest in career counseling. I feel I don't know even a bit of counseling. The amount of choices that people have got. So how will a parent, first generation parent which you're talking about, how will they know? So somebody has to take this initiatives, and the best is people who are the stakeholders. Employment exchange is there. Therefore, there are organizations. So am I taking too much time, sir? Lunch is getting cold. Okay. Can I finish? Okay. I have not thought of what to speak, but I'm just coming. Right. Since we're all so-called like-minded people on one platform, you do get a little excited. So like that. So I think all stakeholders and must come together and put it on top of the priority list, like we do. A lot of ladies do on cupboard things to do. You covered all those things to do. I think this also must come on top of the list, apart from academic thing. And today, even academic performance may not be relevant, because as per the new education policy, even class 12 marks will not be taken into consideration for college admission now. There's going to be a central university entrance test. I thought it was cute, but the CUT, it's almost like cute. But now it's coming to that, right? So imagine these children. So coming back to thing, 11, 12, then they have taken a major decision. They have taken a major decision in their life without any help or support from anybody. They have decided to go to science, commerce and arts. The day you have taken arts, all the options that are available in science and commerce is out now. You have ruled out now. 80%, 90% of all career options are ruled out. And without even knowing he had the aptitude for it. Or he just take it because his friend was going there. And in co-ed schools, there are other reasons why people choose science, commerce and arts also. In boys' school and pure girls' school might be different. But in co-ed school, the mind works differently. Right? And then you come to class 12. And then instead of more or less deciding what to do after plus 2, because that is the most major decision that you take in your life in class 12. Because if you decide to choose medical, then you're going to be a doctor for the rest of your life. So what decision that you take in class 12 is more or less what you're going to do for the rest of your life, in most of the cases. And such a major decision you're just taken on whims and fancies. And here, I keep telling students, first we decide the place. Again, in ICC school, people have to Bangalore. What do you want to do after plus 2? Sir, I want to go to Bangalore. That's Bangalore is not a qualification. Now somebody has told them you go to Brigade Road and these nice pubs are there. Crowd is good. Food is good. Ambience is good. You can party all night and all those kind of things. So that becomes the motivation to go to Bangalore. And then if they don't get admission into Bangalore, they will end up doing anything just to stay back in Bangalore. Then after 3 years, 4 years or 5 years or whatever time they spend out here, then they decide the world has moved on and I'm left behind. Where did I go wrong? Where the hell did I go wrong? I went wrong in class 12. I went wrong in class 10. I went wrong in class 12. So this is the way people decide. So now I'm telling my students, I said, first you should decide what you want to do. If I want to do paramedical, or if I want to do fashion designing, then I must, now you got the most powerful tool right in your hands. Now parents are encouraging you post-pandemic, they are giving you a phone now. They all have a phone. After school you see everyone, whether it is government schools or private schools, after school, in school, no phone, but after school, all wired, everybody's walking. Everybody has a phone. Okay, but they've got a very powerful tool if you use it properly. I'm telling them, you can Google all the fashion designing institutes in the country, whether it's Twinkle Khanna's or whether it's NIFT, NID, wherever you want to go from. You first Google that. See whether you want to go to Delhi or Calcutta or Ahmedabad, which is the best institute. Then once the college is more or less decided, the place is also decided. Rest will follow. But here what we're doing is, we are doing ulta. We are first deciding the place. We are deciding the place. Because why are you going to Bangalore? Why are you going to Calcutta? Because my sister is there. These are not important. Yes, we look for that comfort factor because auntie is there or sister is there. That's not important at the end of the day. Important is which course you want to do. Whether you need to go to Jorat or you need to go to Jorbanglo or whether you need to go to Johannesburg, that is not important. Where you should be decided by the course. So then once they have taken a decision like that, then of course then things will start falling in place. But this from class 9 to 12 is the crucial phase. I feel like that. And it has to be done at schools, and I think Ms. Janali, I think you need to talk to all the principals because it has to start from the top. If ma'am is convinced, she goes back very interested, enthusiastic. Sorry. Sorry. So it goes back fired up. A teacher is here presenting. Surat sir was leading a list of all the teachers in this. You go back fired. Then again, if you go back to your school and the management is not so enthusiastic, then again you get disappointed, right? Then of course you can't say outwardly, but then you'll in the heart of hearts you'll be saying, then why the hell did you send me out there? Isn't it? So we all have to be on the same page. We all have to be on the same page, and I think if this change comes from the top rather than the bottom, it will be better. Right? And so once the head of the institution is convinced, right, and you can address all the principals together, not only private schools, government schools, and there could be rates. Ma'am was talking about, she had apprehension about the costing factor because it doesn't come cheap. We have done all this psychometric test before and it looked like a business model. It didn't look like the counselors who came. They came here to make a difference in education. They also knew that there was money in this because you're charging per student, right? So once you get that feeling that another party has come, now they have found a different way of capitalizing on the needs, of course, and they have found a different way of earning money, then you tend to become a little cautious. Okay, so that feel has to come from that company also, that they have come here actually to make a difference to that somewhere along commercial reasons are there. But apart from that, there has to be a feel of that this company is also here to make a difference. They also want to leave some kind of a legacy behind. So if you don't feel that, then you start getting doubts. Because we have been approached by numerous companies which want to do thing, and then normally I ask them, I said, is there any cost involved? Thoda to lagega. Thoda means kitna? 100, 200, 300. And then when you count, then they would have already calculated the number of students and they make a killing. There were counselors, I'm not going to names, career counselors who used to make when you calculate, they used to make about 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs in one shot and move. Never to be heard again. They used to do all the psychometric tests, counseling, everything, but one time and they used to disappear. And then when just that school has started getting interested in all these things, the teachers, the entire community now starts getting interest, and then they have vanished. So this kind of trust also has to be built up. It cannot be. And then you cannot have a one-time program like this. Suddenly you come today, and then suddenly, and next time there are no follow-ups. So important follow-up is very, very important. That's why yesterday we did a counseling. I'm coming to the end now. We did a counseling for army, defense background. In a sense, I talked to ex-army officers. Okay, we said now we are hardly producing anyone, and this is supposed to be, we are supposed to be martial community, Veer Gorkha, but we are sending them like somebody like ma'am was talking college. They want to join as Jawans. Why not officers? Why not raise the bar? Why are you settling for a Jawan? But they are thinking of that is because there's no one to handle them, no one to guide them, right? So what we thought is, why not we come together and we do an end-to-end kind of program, right from awareness, motivation, take them to the army's installations, show them firing competition, show them this, the army way of life, and then thereafter, our children don't know when to fill up the form also. Many of them come to me, sir, when is NDA? They don't, absolutely clueless. So we do right from filling up a form, we help them with written examinations, offline and online now, options are there, right? And then finally, you have what is called SSB. All those who clear the written examination, we prepare them for the service selection board also. So it will be right from end to end. And then we are also thinking about a kind of a residential program in the future. That may be a crash course, like a boot camp. Boot camp is an army term. It's where the recruits are made to undergo rigorous training. So it's a boot camp. Of course, you can also mean a kind of a intensive program. But actually the origin is in the army, the boot camp. So we want to have a boot camp kind of thing, or maybe a month's program, and give them a taste of the military way of life. Get up at 5 o'clock, get up, this, that, chatak, you have to be there on time. If you have even late by 1 second also, you'll have to take 20 push-ups and all those kind of things. And then academic sessions up, everything. So we want to do that kind of in the future. But we have to take, first we need to take the baby steps properly. Right. So that's what we are trying to do, end-to-end kind of program. So tomorrow, if we have if all the stakeholders come together, and also we have to ensure that this is not going to be a one-time sensational kind of a program, that it creates a kind of a buzz, and then tomorrow everything is that run with Roshni Foundation, also very happy. 100 gareko ta. Suraj also happy. Maile compare gareko tyo din. TV is also happy. Maile attend gareko. No, it should not be like that. We should try to take it to a logical end. That will be the thing. That will be ultimate. I'm not criticizing anyone. Thank you very much. I would like to congratulate all the organizers, Run with Roshni Foundation. Of course, from marathon they have gone to eduthon, and one more. What all thons will be added subsequently? But good. People need to take interest in the society. You have to contribute in whatever capacity you can, with your contacts, with this, what that. So congratulations to all the members, beautiful members of Run with Roshni, and of course Mr. Sudesh, Mr. Anil, and everybody who has been associated with this program. Congratulations, keep it up, and together, if you want us to be on board for subsequent programs, we'll happily come on board, and we'll try to, as I said, let's try to take it to a logical end and not make it a one-time kind of a program. And I would also like to congratulate, of course, Ms. Latika. I think you were the middle, the scientific, from the parents' point of view, ma'am gave very emotional kind of thing, but overall I think we got three different perspectives, and there were good participation from educators also, and of course my brother and friend is here always. He is the voice of Kalimpong. He's now also become the face of Kalimpong now. So thank you everyone, and it's been a wonderful session. Thank you for inviting me over. So happy weekend to each one of you. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Captain Prakash Pradhan, Principal Director, Roval Academy and Roval Management College. Kubai Sundar Dangama after Prastuti, which is Rupli, as a person who understands the students from a part of the world, the genuine definition of counseling and how we've been duped. It's okay, and the thing that this counseling, like the follow-up sessions, so after Mantavya Prakat Gorniba, it was his opinion.
One very valid point which Captain Pradhan has mentioned during his talk, and also I think there was a faculty from Kalimpong Government College. Now, I've been traveling to my association with the hills, and especially with Kalimpong, is from the year 1996, and those days I was associated with the publishing industry. So that's how I know the schools, the old booksellers in town and others. And of course I maintain relationship very properly. That's how my connection with Sudesh Mukhya, Ms. Roshni Rai, all these things happens. And also I've met you, sir, before, and might be I was pretty young and you was also young those days. So one point which I would like to clarify about the cost part. About the cost part of this test, that is, this test actually is offered at a cost of 3,000 rupees, and when I was told by the parent company with whom we have a joint venture, if you go to their website you will see that anybody who is taking this test, it's 3,000 rupees. I told them no way, I do it exclusively and you will have to let me decide on my pricing, because I have traveled to almost every corner of Eastern India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Myanmar, all these places in the schools. So I told them that we will come to a price, you will have to leave it on me and my organization to decide on the pricing. You cannot decide on the pricing. So we decided on a price of 969 flat. Now who pays for it? Is when we started marketing, when we started going to schools, I have deep connections in schools in Calcutta. So in lot of the cases we found that in the private schools, those who, and here in the marketing of schools, a lot of private schools in Calcutta, they want to push themselves, they want to market, they want admissions, all that thing happens everywhere. I am sure it happens here. That is one of my discussion in the session. But who pays? In lot of, here the school, they are wanting a bulk discount, we are giving it. We are giving it on a bulk discount, and we are giving it to the school, and we ensure that that student be with us whenever that student or the guardian wants to connect with us, round the clock, till he or she wants to be connected. So that is one gauge. There is another option which we are trying to work out, and which Captain Pradhan will have to guide me, or will have to tell me whether I should be doing it. See, I can offer 10 students each as a test drive, whatever schools have come in today. Only the schools those who have participated today. As a test drive for class 10 students, I can offer a free testing, 10 students per school, so that you understand the validity of the test, not just by listening to us. You understand, you feel, you see the report, you see the individual report, and you understand. So that is, I can spend up to 10 tests per school. There is nothing else which, that is one part. And the second part is, I can seek sponsors. Now, when I speak sponsors, that is the game which I don't want to get into. Sponsors is into a different ball league. The third part is a student is already wasting a lot of money. If they go for a NEET coaching, they spend 2 lakh rupees. If they go for joint entrance coaching behind Pathfinder, Akash, Fitji, they spend money. If they go to RISE, they spend money. They have money. So here, and that money has been planned in a very unplanned fashion. They go study BTech, they spend 6 lakhs. They go study BSc nursing somewhere else, they spend 6 lakhs package. But now, there is a way when we tell the student, this 969 rupees is going to decide on the further investment which you are going to spend for your education. So these are the three options. I am open to go to school or send the links to the teachers today present and offer you 10 sponsored, absolutely free. You select, it's on your discretion which are the students, maybe the top 10 or the top deserving students. Decide on that. Let us know. Mr. Sudesh Mukhya will coordinate, and we don't mind, offering those testing in Kalimpong. We are also a new company. We are new into this in terms of financials. Possibly we are looking at situation where we can do multiple testing with, getting in sponsors, but that is a debatable issue. That is also a sensitive issue, because I don't want sponsors to come in and just jump and do all that. That might give us a wrong feedback from the institutional point of view, and mainly from the institutional point of view and from the students' point of view. That is where is financials is all about. Thank you.
So मोटामोटी यो टिचर्स कन्क्लेभ को अन्तमा हामी छौँ, अन्तम भइसकेको छ. So I hope it was fruitful. धेरै कुरा हामीले सिक्न पायौँ. How counseling can be redefined in its own way with new inputs from all angles and perspectives. र यदि तपाईहरुको कुनै प्रश्न किशोर ज्यूमाथि छ भने you can always throw a few.
Yeah, I think there was something for the teachers about to. Everybody's hungry, I think, basically.
Or a little bit of, interactive rather than myself talking, or I can round it up in 10 minutes with gist or whatever.
Yes, I think that would be that would be good.
As we prepare for lunch, let us get into that.
Because some of the teachers, I think, like ma'am said, त्यसको लागि पनि आउनु भएको हो नि त. So त्यसको लागि पनि सिक्नुलाई आउनु भएको थियो. Yes. किशोर नाग उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ. उहाँको छोटो है परिचय. Who is he? He's worked in the education industry with leading institutions for over 25 years. He has an extensive experience as education brand and communication thought leader. He founded Apt Mentors, a Techwala K3 Solutions Private Limited, in collaboration with Career Futura to help students choose their right careers and courses. So without wasting much time, I hand over the microphone to Sri Kishore.
I will not take much of a time, because we are already delayed for lunch. See, I'll ask you, I am into social media marketing. Basically, my organization, our company, Techwala K3 Solutions, does social media brand solutions for educational institutions and educators, schools and colleges kind of situation. So, I'll just use some words. I'll say like. So what comes in your mind when I use this word? Like. I like you. Okay, that comes in your mind. Facebook comes in. Yeah. Yes. Facebook. Anything else? Yes. This comes on your mind. Okay. Engagement. Engagement. What comes on your mind? So, comments? So, reviews? Now, if you see this, the usage of these words before 10 years from now, I like you, right? I liked you. So, please give me your comments whether you like it or not. Engagement was, I am engaged to someone. Engagement. Share. I want to share my opinion. Right? So, I want to share my opinion. Today, if you see the word share, something else strikes in your mind. So that is what we are dealing with. As we wake up in the morning, I keep asking to a lot of these students when I go for a workshop in colleges, what is the first thing you do as you wake up in the morning? Most of them, without hesitation, they pick up the phone and they see their WhatsApp messages, they see their Facebook. Even in the rural West Bengal, Bolpur side also I've recently visited, we were taking a counseling session. So the first thing we do in the morning after waking up is not picking up, not brushing our teeth or going to the washroom, taking a glass of water, yoga, pranam, all those things. No. The first thing what we do is, and that's the last thing which we do. So knowingly, unknowingly, we all as educators, as school owners or principals, we are consuming as private tutors, we are consuming a lot of social media, right? And there are people watching you, there are people following you, there's a word called following, right? So these are interesting words. One day I was just trying to make a list of these words, and today in the digital scenario, the meaning has changed so much. How we as individuals, now I ask you a question, how many of you do not have a Facebook account? So everyone we have. How many of you have a Facebook page? How many of you have a Facebook page? So Anukampa ma'am mentions that we have a college page. So how many of your school or department has that? You're coming from, maybe St. Philomena's, St. Joseph's, St. Anthony's, Dr. Graham's Home, any of these schools, and there's a competition between these schools to project themselves academically, sports wise, placement wise, admission wise. So there's a struggle. Are we doing enough? My today's session, I take extensive sessions on this. Of course, today we do not have a PowerPoint presentation because of the environment, but in brief, as educators, it is compulsory to have your institutional Facebook page. One functional Facebook page for the institution. We are, as teachers, we connect to a lot of students. As teachers, in our Facebook page, there's a lot of things which we can do, and there's a lot of things which may not be advisable for us as teachers or as educators. Those practices. And when we talk about the digital platform, the advantage and the difficulty of this platform is, I open a, say, today this session has happened, and somebody in our company's page, the page they've taken they've written good session, bad session, boring session, did not serve lunch on time, the tea was horrible, the weather was bad. the music system was bad. That's what we do really, right? When, say, during our Make My trip or anywhere where we are not happy, we try to write it. We try to comment. So Facebook or most of the digital platforms is a two-way communication. So if somebody writes me, I do not, as a brand, so the food was not good, it gives me an opportunity to reply back that, sorry, next time maybe I'll try to cook better and serve you better. But if you're silent as a teacher, as a school, because they are writing, when is the admission happening, when is the next session starting, when is the career counseling happening, and the school is mum. You have made a post about the career counseling to happen in your school, and the students, we have invited the students because those part, the community building, those part also, that's what we are specialized for. Our company specializes in that. But then even the students have commented, you have not replied. Coming to here, I find that only, the pages, the official pages of the schools or the departments, now slowly some departments also, they are bringing up their official pages, because this is becoming a document. Even for your tutorials, this is becoming a document. Please open a business page. A lot of you might have Run with Roshni Foundation. I follow her page, her account, Roshni Rai's account, and she does it wonderfully. That's a nice way of self-branding. You create a perception about yourself as a teacher, as a philanthropist, as a gardener, as a marketer, as a brand advertising person like me, as a counselor, whatever, but you create your perception. But that is what, when I've sent, last time when we met and we sent the friend requests, I was going through her, and you get a lot of positive vibes when you visit some pages. On the contrary, when you visit some pages, you get a lot of negative vibes, full of selfies, full of, political posts being shared, full of debatable situations, full of, weekend disc habits. So when you visit such a page, then you generally build up a perception about that person. I take these sessions with the students and teachers also. How, as a teacher, you contribute to your community in your digital platform with your particular school. Of course, where the school, the ends meet is admissions, end of the day. If you do not get admissions, a lot of the schools are struggling. In Karshiang, I keep hearing that a lot of schools are running short of numbers every year. But the basics are not there. Your website is not there. A lot of the websites were just made because you were forced to make a website. So this is an evolving area of communication, not only advertising and marketing, but we have all seen during teaching, last 2 years, we have, even if we have disliked, we were forced to get into it. A lot of us, even I am myself being a digital marketer, I prefer a face-to-face interaction. I don't prefer a Zoom meeting. She handles the Zoom meeting and the other office, and everybody else is comfortable, I am not. But then at times I am forced, because I have to attend a Zoom meeting day after tomorrow. I am forced because my client wants me to come and meet, which I will not be able to go. So these platforms and the meaning of these words, if you do a research, you will see life is changing. And when we get a chance, I will love to come to your school, not only about the counseling part, the career counseling part we take forward. There is a monetary part which I have discussed, but anybody who gets it free will not treat it seriously. Let me tell you one thing. Anybody who gets a test free, I can give 10 tests free to each school those who have participated today, including the government department. I can give 10 tests free, which will cost me 9,069 rupees per school. And if I'm doing it with 10 schools, so I'll spend 90,000 rupees. I'm ready to do that. But these 10 students, those who will get it free of cost, will not treat their careers seriously because they are getting it free. I will only, once we collaborate, once we talk, we have your numbers. If you take the way forward to your principals, to the decision makers, I will look at a further subsidy which can be given. In the month of June, after the ISC, CBSE and the West Bengal board results are declared, I'm planning for 100 student boot camp for class 12 appeared students, because that is the time when they need it more. So we'll do it in Kalimpong, we'll do it in Pedong also. So these 100 students can either be 50% subsidized on the rate, or 50 students can be fully subsidized and 50 students will need to pay it full. Because here I am trying to rope in a sponsorer. But free is not a good thing, because this is a very serious issue. They pay, I'm repeating that they spend money, they waste money. See, from here they go to Bangalore by flight. So in that case, the money doesn't count. From Siliguri to Bangalore must be 10,000 rupees, 8,000 rupees. And they just go there to see the college, stay there for 2-3 days, come back. And this test is only 969. So that seriousness should also be conveyed. People, those who are not that serious, then we are not interested also. Because we cannot force somebody to think about their career. We can do our part of the job. We can give them exposure, information, we can send the link, we can take things forward to the next level. But we cannot force a student to take this, test until and unless that desire is created within. So we can go from school to school and talk to the, we can send the letters from Calcutta. Here the government department is here. They will also have their limitations. Let me tell you, I have my friends who is the SDO of a very reputed place in Bolpur, where I keep on traveling and do a lot of counseling over there. So recently I was in Bolpur, I did counseling in Shantiniketan, Vishwavarati, and then Bolpur High School. See, the government will also have their own limitations. I'm glad that she could participate, she came here. Even my friend comes because, that SDO comes because he's my friend. He has an obligation, he has to come and sit even if he thinks that somebody might raise an eyebrow. But we are looking for genuine, serious students. People, those who are interested. Out of 100 students, you will see, 50 of them, they think that 969 is a waste. Now, people, those who think that 969 rupees is a waste, perhaps our organization or as individuals, you should not also push further. That will not be the right process. That responsibility is a huge responsibility which we will try to take. Until and unless schools, they make it mandatory and they fit in this particular cost with their tuition fees or with their admission fees. In Bangalore, in Chennai, most of the schools have made it mandatory for every student for class 10, 11 and 12. So it is factored in with their some fees, development fees or some fees, special education, somewhere they are factored in. A student from class 10 to class 11, the admission is based on this test. There is no need for a separate admission. You give this test, the test itself tells you whether the student is good for taking science or commerce or arts. So those are practices, but here it will develop. We are here to stay. I am here for a relationship. I am not here for a business. And this kind of development, I think if the relationship, if the networking grows, we will be able to reach faster. And then automatically some business happens. That is the way we are looking at things. Any other questions? I think we are all already late, 2:15. Any other questions? Anyone has? Lunch here? We need to go downstairs.
So thank you very much, Sri Kishore Nag. Obviously, बोल्नु भएन है लन्चतिर हामी जान्छौँ, but before that, I'd like to invite on stage my good friend, Sri Anil Ramtel, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests and teachers from schools of Kalimpong. I deem it a great privilege and honor to offer a vote of thanks for this event. It's 14:12 and I stand between you and lunch. Before letting you go, I'd like to thank the chief guest for today, Mr. Prakash Pradhan, for giving his time here. We know he has a busy schedule and we'd like to thank him for gracing this occasion. I would also like to thank our guest here, a special guest, who is here on behalf of the Lepcha Development Board. I'd also like to extend a special thanks to our panelists, Ma'am Latika Oja, Ma'am Brinda, and Ma'am Ranjala, for your valuable contribution to the in-depth knowledge about the scientific career counseling for the high school student. I would like to acknowledge my special thanks to the head of the schools who have trusted our team and they have sent you here. I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Sonam Bhutia, who has provided this place, a place with a beautiful ambience. The KTV crew, its media personnel, Mr. Nirav Pradhan, a young budding photographer, and Mr. Suraj Mani Pradhan, my friend, as Captain Prakash said, face and voice of Kalimpong. I'd like to thank our speaker, Mr. Kishore Nag. You truly made this day enlightening for us. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has added to the glory of this event. And how can I forget to thank the teachers who are here today? Without a strong, engaged audience, a workshop cannot be a success. We all know how special Saturdays are for the people living in Kalimpong. So Saturdays are called the hard days, and that is a holiday for us. Thank you, dear teachers, for sacrificing the holiday for this event. And behind every program, there is a big struggle. The wheel turns around much before the program starts. So thank you very much, Mr. Sudesh. You can see there, he is the pillar behind today's event. Thank you, Ma'am Roshni, the founder of Run with Roshni, and Ma'am Sunita Rai Bhutia, who had just left. Thank you very much.